Park for this afternoon's Leinster final. It's all Laois bidding to stop a Dublin side who've won the last 7 Leinster finals and have won the last 4 by a margin of more than 13 points. Let's see how they got on with Desi Dolan and Marty Morrissey.
The big news in Croke Park today is that Stephen Cluxton will not play due to that rib injury he picked up against Longford. So stepping into the light is 20-year-old Evan Comerford from Ballymun-Kickham's. Another new player, Brian Howard from Raheny, continues to impress and build on his impressive CV as he's named in a half-back line that also contains James McCarthy and Johnny Cooper. Laois goalkeeper Graham Brodie is an exceptional talent and is certainly not your normal traditional Gaelic football keeper. Colin Begley's performance is crucial at centre-back, as is the midfield displays of John O'Loughlin and Kieran Lillis. How will the Division 4 team fare against the best team in the land? Eric Lowndes floating one in to test out the Laois defence, and it's a touch and it's a goal. Kieran Kilkenny hovering around the edge of the square.
Yeah, great ball in there by Eric Lowndes. He seems to find himself an awful lot of space, and Kieran Kilkenny showed great strength and a great finish. But Dublin right now, it's a full court press. They've 12 men pushed up on top of Laois and they can't seem to get out of the ball at all.
Paul Kingston, good hands, laying it off. Laois try to settle with an early score. Alan Farrell is available. Farrell is going for it. He hits it well. That's a great score. Laois are up and running in the Leinster final after 7 minutes of play. It's now 10 minutes since Dublin scored. Goalkeeper just going back, strolling back to the goalkeeping spot in front of his 16. Finbar Crowley from Emo gets a touch. Diagonal ball is a good one. It's that man, Donny Kingston. It's sneaking inside the left-hand post and over the bar. And Laois have responded to the challenge. Paddy Andrews. His opposite number, Damien O'Connor, staying with him, acting as that sweeper. Kieran Kilkenny coming through the centre is Scully. Inside the large rectangle, is there a penalty? It is. Referee had no doubt. From my initial look at what was happening, it looked like a penalty.
I have to say it did look like a penalty. You can see the hand going across him there and pulling him right back, and in my opinion Barry Cassidy was right on it.
It's Paul Mannion from Kilmacud Crooks facing Graham Brodie from Portlaoise, and he's driven it wide. A psychological boost to Laois.
He scored in the last game against Longford, a brilliant goal, but definitely disappointed with that finish.
For John Sucru, crucial moment. Knocked away by Eric Lowndes, picked up by Niall Scully. Good ball inside to Conor Callahan. He's deadly from here. He floats it in. Oh, good save by Graham Brodie. It was cheeky, very cheeky from Conor Callahan. He spotted that the goalkeeper was off his line. Just watch him here. Decided to try and lob him.
Yeah, Graham Brodie is an excellent goalkeeper and he'd be happy to fist that one over the bar.
Donny Kingston trying to get inside the cover. One man gone. Goes for the shot. Straight at Evan Comerford.
And unlucky not to get a free there. There was a bit of contact, but he glided by Philly McMahon there with a brilliant solo off his left foot, dummy solo.
Brian Fenton. One of 2 Raheny players on this starting 15, the other of course being wing-back Brian Howard. Paddy Andrews makes an angle for himself and glides the ball over the bar.
Yeah, and there's a couple of instances where Laois were in good positions, prominent positions, got nothing out of it and then straight down the pitch, and Dublin finished with a score.
The gap between Division 1 and Division 4 is a little bit more evident right now. Kieran Kilkenny. Little 1-2 with Dean Rock. Here comes the shot, and it's curling over the bar.
The interchange is incredible. Very quick, slick movement, giving the ball to Dean, laid it back. Paul Mannion got on it, Conor Callahan. Very difficult to mark that. There was a loose hand in there by John Small. The linesman, I think, picked up on it. Evan O'Carroll gets it. The free is given. Then he comes in. Just gets a bit high.
Let's see what the colour of the card will be here. It's a straight red. Let's look at it here.
You see him, he's dragging him down there. It comes in across. There's no need to put the arm in, and he did put the arm in, so you can see it there. You can see it there. When you see it back like that, definitely looks like it was a strike into the face.
The silence that's around Croke Park as people just admire what Dublin are doing here. Niall Scully is building a reputation over the last number of seasons with his Dublin team. He gets a nice return pass. He's trying to make an angle for himself to shoot a score, and that is over the bar.
You can see how they're keeping an awful lot of width in it. It's keeping the game wide open, and hugging the sidelines like that, giving the ball and taking it on is creating massive holes in this Laois defence.
Conor McHugh did well to gather it. Came from behind, gives it first James McCarthy. McHugh has gone for the return pass. Score on its way. Brian Fenton shoots, and the white flag will be raised. Second point of the match for the Raheny Star.
Easily the best midfielder in the country.
For Laois, it's disappointment. For Dublin, it's joy. Their dominance in the province of Leinster continues. But Jim Gavin, he once again proves what a formidable manager and what a brilliant squad of players he has. Full-time score there. Dublin 1 goal, 25 points. Laois 10 points. It's the 57 Leinster title. 8 in a row for Dublin. Johnny Cooper standing in for the injured Stephen Cluxton. Dublin, kings of Leinster once again.
Certainly it was a nip and tuck in the first half. Thought Laois played really well. But despite getting a man sent off in the second half, that I thought it was harsh. But boys knuckled down, and I thought they shot really well in the second half. We created lots of opportunities in the first, didn't take them. But I suppose the positive thing at half time was we were creating those opportunities, and thankfully in the second half we were a bit more clinical.
I'd like to think there's good character inside in that dressing room. I'd like to think we'll have another go and measure ourselves against a different opposition. They're the standard bearers, Dublin. There's no one taking that away from them. We felt it was a good idea, or we felt it was a good opportunity to measure ourselves, which we did today. And we've got a lot of work to do.
All right, well, Tomas, no more than Kieran, you watched Kerry last night, and afterwards lots of people were saying Kerry are now ready for the Dubs. You watched the Dubs today. What's your verdict?
To be honest with you, I don't think either team are tested properly yet. I think hopefully I'd love to see both teams going at each other. They play a brilliant style of football. We're crying out for teams to play like them. But I suppose the Dubs have gone 13 out of 14, and I'm not attacking any of the teams here. I'm not attacking them at all. They play what's in front of them. The Dubs to win today play 2 Division 4 teams and a Division 1 team. They're winning by 17, 18 points above in Leinster. Kerry, I was accused of saying that the Leinster Championship is a joke. It is a joke. Munster Championship is a joke. Kerry have gone for 6 in a row. At the weekend there, Kerry played Clare at under 20 level, beat them 3-22 to a point. What's that
Waterford,
doing for Waterford?
Yeah.
What's that doing for anything? Kerry played under 17, under 20 and senior level, and won by a combined score of 76 points. You talk about the hurling championship, and you see the way that they have. Basically, they don't have provinces at all. They have Munster, which is a Western, and it's like the conferences. They have the Eastern, where Ulster play in it and Galway play in it. And for God's sake, can we just agree for once that the provincials don't work in football? They just don't. Have 2 groups and give them a fair crack off it, and have it properly done, not just this.
Maybe Super 8s will show us that.
Well, maybe, but I mean, I think it has to go in that direction. Somebody has to look at it, because is that doing anybody favours in Leinster or in Munster?
I think like the Super 8s is elitist.
It's in the provincial council's favours. Money on the gates is a big thing.
The Super 8 is elitist, but we are all looking forward, and hopefully that's the first step to expanding the Super 16s. We don't want to get into debates around championship structures, but I do agree with Tomas. I think the provincials, they're dead on their feet, and I think they have been for a few years. And yes, every 2 or 3 games there is counties that make a big win, and hindsight tells us that aren't they great and alive and well. In the overall context, I don't think they are.
Quick word on Laois.
Laois, listen, I was positive on Laois coming into the match, because I'd seen them against Wexford and Westmeath. I knew they played a nice brand of football. They go very direct. They played a simple game plan today with one sweeper back. They caused Dublin a lot of trouble in the first half. Dublin were sloppy in possession. There was a few key referee decisions that could have went with Laois. that they could have got scores off, and Dublin punished them. Dublin might have got lucky with a few decisions and got frees at the other end of the field. And that each point that went over just broke the momentum, and they ran out of steam. But I think it was a brave effort. John Sugar has them well organised. But from a Dublin perspective, poor first half, they still won by 18 points, so their class still came through.
Tomas, you're going to illustrate that, how Dublin improved in the second half from that opening.
Yeah, Kieran said that Laois put serious heat on them the first time, or the first half. They played Damien O'Connor as a sweeper, but I think, look, I don't know, there was just something about the Dubs in the first half. They were very laxed about a lot of the shots they were taking in comfortable positions that they would normally slot over in their sleep. They hit 9 wides in the first half days, totally unlike them. They had a penalty from Paul Mannion that you normally bury, you know. They just seemed a little bit shaken, and still, even though they were shaken and they were missing, like, that was short and a good bit wide, they still went 5 points up. I would agree with Kieran in that Laois, this is Brian Fenton. When's the last time you see Brian Fenton do that? I mean, I'd agree that in the second half, Cormac Costello came on, kicked 4 points. I think he was outstanding. They kicked 1 wide in the second half days. And when you consider 10 wides altogether, 9 in the first, 1 in the second, they were just way more tuned in. You could tell they got a rollicking at half time. They came out and they just romped home. And in that first half, it just goes to show the power of it. When you look at it, they were playing a Division 4 team, albeit that they've made great strides, Laois, this year. But the Dubs just flexed their muscles in the second half, whether there was freeze, they forced Laois to foul, yeah. And I suppose, look, they have that confidence to back each other. They didn't change the style of play. They keep doing what the Dubs do constantly. And look, they're a joy to watch, you know, bottom line.
The two goalkeepers were talking points for different reasons today, Kieran.
Yeah, well, obviously Evan Comfort coming in for Stephen Cluxton, big shoes to fill. But Graham Brodie on the other end of the pitch, I have to say, was great to watch. And it's very easy to say this is risky and it doesn't work. But when Dublin play such a high press and they have 8 or 9 putting pressure on, he's gone out. He is that extra man. He creates here. It's good play. He's in the play 3 or 4 times. He's making it easier on his defenders who have an extra option. He switches the play here from one side to the other, stays in the game. It's a new facet of the game. Is it risky? Yes. Will somebody eventually catch a keeper out? Yes. But sure, our keeper's caught with short kick-outs sometimes as well. Here, he's also very effective off his long kick-outs. Picked out Colin Begley. Here's Con trying to, a little lob, gets a hand on it. Great save. See here, gets just one hand over the bar. So I thought he had a massive performance today, and he didn't want to come off when he got injured. Evan Comfort at the other end of the field, I thought, had a super game for Dublin. Again, we can see him here. He's a cut-off Stephen Cluxton. He's learned so much from him. He's a great kid with a great attitude. You can see here he comes out, calling Johnny Cooper back, shown leadership at such a young age when you can see that there's danger, gets back in goal. Out of his 23 kickouts today, he got 19 to Dublin players. A very effective performance in short and long kickouts. He's nearly a replica of Stephen Cluxton, and
that's bad news for other teams.
Yeah, well, listen, he's still a long way to go. But I was involved in the development squads, and he's learned a lot off Stephen Cluxton in the last couple of years. He has a great attitude, and if there's somebody that will invest the same amount of time in their development as Cluxton did, it's him. So that's a huge positive from a Dublin perspective, that he was able to step into those shoes today and deliver a very good performance.
You like Tomas that Laois were kick passing quite a bit.
Yeah, I think they said that they had a plan of going long. Here we have Colin Begley, who's a good kicker of a ball. He puts him one into Evan O'Carroll. Now, he's fouled here. The one thing I would say, there was no Laois players coming to him. They took out Johnny Cooper, took out Michael Darmacali as sweepers inside there. But there was no players coming off his shoulder, if you know what I mean. He was lucky enough to get the free. Here we have another long ball into Donny Kingston. They have the players inside to win. You take the sweeper out of it again. There's an acre of space out to the left. We can't see it there, but there is. He turns around, kicks it over the bar. Now, compared to the first clip we showed, Colin Begley puts another ball into Evan O'Farrell. But watch Evan O'Carroll. Alan Farrell, we've him highlighted here. He comes off the shoulder, burns the Dubs in clear open space. I think if you see the Dubs play a style of football, Des, that
they give you chances.
They give you chances, and if you go along and take a chance and go along with it, and the better teams don't do it because they're afraid of giving away possession, and they won't do it at all. Whereas if you do, and I think that example of Alan Farrell coming off the shoulder, where if you have that pace in your team, you can hurt them. But I admire the Dubs for that. Kerry were the same down in Cork last night. Their full back is man on man, you know. And if there's a sweeper there is. But if the forward's pushing them, there isn't any sweeper. But I admire Laois. At least they went at it. They went at the long ball. They didn't stop at it, but they didn't make it often enough to make a huge impression.
OK, there was a red card for Dublin's John Small. Now, you have a theory about this.
Yeah, look, I would ask people to look at the last clip. It looks bad for John Small, and I'm not trying to play games here, but look at the last clip. He makes contact with the ball, his hand bounces off the ball. The one thing I will say, the whistle went maybe a second before it, but he does make contact, no problem with that. The sideline man was right in front of him, but if you look, it looks bad, the first 2 clips, I've no doubt about that. He comes in and he is an aggressive player, there's no doubt about that either. But look at the last clip, I do believe he actually went to hit the ball, and it slips in forward. Now, it's this one. He hits the ball and it comes in. Look, it looks awful, I suppose, but I genuinely think, I don't know, look, he made contact with the face. Red card, you can't have anything near the head is dangerous. He did make contact, so he has to live with a red card. I accept that, but I do think, I don't know, I think he connected with the ball as well.
All right. Now, there was one moment at half-time that meant a lot to, not just to Dublin fans, I think football fans everywhere, and that was Jimmy Keaveney was brought into the Leinster Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
like the ultimate Dublin legend.
Yeah,
to be there on the left.
He was probably the first Dublin player that I knew of, because there was only 2 or 3, and Heffer brought him back in '74 when Dublin were at a low, and he was hugely influential in the 3 All-Irelands. An absolute,
the darling of the hill, like
absolute legend of the game, and only had one blip in his career when he was sent off against Offaly, but we got a good song out of that evening.
Yeah. He gave John O'Keefe nightmares the other night as well, didn't he?
And many other
games. Off the laces, straight off the laces.
All right, let's name our man of the match from this afternoon. So, Kieran, who are our nominees?
The first nominee, Des, which we alluded to, was Graham Briotti. I thought he had an excellent game for Laois. He kept them in it, kick-outs excellent, and pulled off some very good saves. The second nomination was Dean Rock. Again, 8 points today, kicked some fantastic scores in the second half, and generally he's having a very good season leading the line up there for Dublin. And the third nomination was Kieran Kilkenny, the powerhouse, unstoppable at times, got that early goal and scored 1-5 today.
And who's at the winner, Tomas?
The winner is Kieran Kilkenny.
1-4, Des.
I was just asking Kieran, so I could say that he scored 1-5. But look, he's an outstanding player. You know, we give out about football and the state of football. We've so many class individual players in the country. Kieran Kilkenny is an absolute animal of a player, and he's getting better. You know, an outstanding performance again by him, and a contender already for player.
You always use the word animal in a particular way. That's a good way, again, just to emphasise that.
Complimentary all the time.
Indeed. Yes. Let's hear then from the Castleknock man. Kieran spoke with Claire McNamara after the game.
Kieran, 1-4 from you today, and another Leinster title, a very familiar feeling, of course. Does it ever get old for these dubs?
No, I suppose it's just special to be out there playing in Croke Park on such a beautiful day. It's a really good game, really good challenge against Laois. They really put it up to us there in the first half, and we're just delighted to get the win, and now we're really looking forward to resting up and going to the sea for a swim, recovering. I'm really looking forward to the Super 8s now.
Well, congratulations, you are the Ayr man of the match, and Colin Stafford from Ayr is here with the presentation.
Well done to Kieran.